everybody, I'm Vasel. Welcome to the Dice Tower, and today we take a look at Junior Detective Magic Reveals Whodunit, all ages fun. It's a 2 to 6 player game in which you have 40 different cases and you are trying to solve them. This game is going to be very similar in a sense to Clue. You're trying to figure out who did it and what costume they're wearing to hide from people. And the things are like, this is the salt shaker caper. Here, everyone is disgusted because someone put salt in the sugar shaker. This one here, the criminal puts bubbles into the coach's whistle. So those are the kind of crimes. You're just trying to figure out who did it. Here's how you play. In this game, you're going to play one of many cases that's included in the game. And so each case, like for example, this is case number 1, the shimmering shelves, gives you a little bit of background, tells you what card numbers to place on the board. So for each of the different witnesses, they have different number cards on them. And so you're just going to take these cards and put them on the locations that match them. Now, I'm not putting the cards for this case. I'm just putting out some random cards here on the board. And so you will be putting these out there, and what you're trying to do is visit these witnesses to get clues. Once you do that, you can hopefully solve the case. Each case has a card, and you'll notice that when you put this card on here, it will show, or possibly some numbers. Now, I'm not putting it on here exactly, but like if I put it on exactly, it's going to show one number. So here it's telling you, who the person is that committed the crime, and it will also show you what they're hiding as. There are 4 different disguises that are on the board, and then each player has a list of the suspects, and it's one of these 12 suspects. Each player is going to have a sheet of paper that they're going to use to write on. They're going to get one of these boards to show them the different suspects. Everyone's going to need this little decoder here and this mirror. You have a bunch of sleuth cards. You'll put your piece here in the middle on the treehouse, and the game begins. On a player's turn, you roll the die, a 6-sided die, and that's the number of spaces you move. So 1, 2, when you get to a crossroad, you can change directions, but you can't go back. 3, 4, 5, 6. You can go pretty much where you want. If you land on a fingerprint, you'll draw a sleuth card, and I will say, move a hiding token. That's these. Visit Dottie Drip and quench your thirst. Go straight to the coffee shop. If you visited these players, tell other players what one of the witnesses. Everyone has to go back to the treehouse. Move 2 hiding tokens. And there's a lot of various things. Go straight to the school. So you're moving around. If you land on those, if you land on a bicycle, which I did here, you go to any spot on the board. You may not go through these tokens. These tokens block the paths. I initially was like, why are they so big? But I can see that it kind of keeps you from passing these. But you can land on other players, and you can go through other players, but you'll sometimes move these to block other players, although you can never completely block a player in. You have to give them a spot that they can get through. Now, as you move through, as you go through the witnesses, once you go through a witness, you can question that witness. You'll just take their card, you'll take this, and it will tell you some information. So he says, the culprit did not have a hat. Oh, okay. So I look here. Well, not the culprit, 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 not the culprit. I've just eliminated quite a few people. And so you'll use your sheet to do that information. So most of them have that red background. The spy has some information written here, and you're supposed to rub this with your fingers to warm it up. And here it says, they are the school mascot. It tells you which of the hiding tokens that they are. That rubbing is a pretty neat idea when you're going to see the spy, but I will say that once someone rubs it, it takes forever to go back down, so it's not as cool as it could be. When you go visit the librarian, her stuff's written backwards, and so you're using the mirror to read the text properly. Ms. Y says that Mr. Sweeps is not telling you the truth because one of these witnesses is lying. And so she'll tell you which one's lying, so you can know that not only are they not telling you the truth. So for example, let's see what Mr. Sweeps here says. Mr. Sweeps says the culprit had a hat. That means the culprit did not have a hat. So it's basically the opposite of what Mr. Sweeps says. That's the game. You're just going to keep moving around, doing all this information till you say, hey, I can solve it. When you solve it, you'll use that little card I showed you, and if you're correct, you win the game. You also have to say, okay, for example, I'll say, Maya did it, and she's hiding as the clown. And if I'm correct, I win. Otherwise, I'm out of the game, and everyone else keeps playing till someone does get it correctly. I don't like this game, but I'll tell you what, I could have, because I like so much about it. I like the idea of there being different cases, and they're not, I mean, there's 40 cases. That's a lot of cases. Even if you played through all 40, you're probably not going to remember what the solution was for one. The solving the thing is very similar to the very popular game Guess Who. They're wearing a hat, they have glasses, you know, whatever it might be, and you're going to cross stuff off for that. Where you read one backwards with the mirror and you use that little red decoder thing from cereal boxes when I was a kid. All that stuff's fun. In fact, my daughter, she'd never seen such a device before. I failed my kids. So that's all cool. The witness is figuring it out. But you roll die to move. It's idiotic. I'm sorry, that's idiotic. And in this day and age, that mechanism completely ruins this game. It's what ruins Clue for me. I think Clue is not a terrible game, but why do you roll a die to move? You roll a 1 at the beginning of the game, you move 1 space, your turn's over. And you roll 1 again, and then maybe you land on a bicycle, can go anywhere on the board. Maybe you land on a thumbprint that makes you give one piece of information to everybody else, negating what you've gotten and giving it to everyone else. It's just that rolls and the cards you draw are so lucky because the first person to get around the board is going to solve the case. The first person to get all the clues will solve the case. So the game, I mean, because the logic's very straightforward. And I like that this game teaches straightforward logic. But why is this roll to move outdated, stupid mechanism in this game? I'm sorry, it's dumb, and I cannot play the game because of it. Man, and it really bugs me. The idea of putting the different cards, I haven't seen that in any game other than like Awkward Guests. You know, you have the different numbered cards and it makes a different case. That's cool. It would even allow them to release more of these. You just pick a different combination of cards. That roll to move is so terrible. The bicycles are so lucky you can go anywhere on the board. You know, if you're blocked, they have these blocking things, but what does that matter when there's a bicycle which lets me go anywhere? So, I can't recommend it because of that. Not even for kids. I know that you get kids, but you know what? There are other better games out there and logic games out there, and rolling and moving just kind of ruins that. So I'm not recommending Junior Detective. I'm giving it a 5. And I'm giving it a 5 because I do like a lot of the mechanisms in it, but unfortunately that roll to move kills it for me, so there you go. Until next time, I'm Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.